What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're out in the garage a little late because I wasn't sure if I was going to do anything today, but I decided to come out here in the garage anyways to start tinkering with the turbo kit for the all-wheel drive CRX. So last night I went to my buddy Kel's house. Shout out to Kel because he has everything that I need almost all the time, and I went to go pick up some fabrication material from him. We have a stainless steel 4-foot 2.5-inch tubing, straight tubing, and then down here at the box we have 2.5 stainless steel 90 bends. We have 3 of them, 1, 2, and 3. We have a 2.5-inch flex pipe. We have a 3-inch flex pipe he gave me because he doesn't really use this style straight section. But down low right here we have all of the tubings, cut-off tubings from when he did his job for customers' cars. These are all for 44 mil wastegates, and I think these are like 1 3/4. I could be wrong, 1 3/4, probably 1 3/4. But I do have another bag over there that came from Robert. Shout out Robert. These are for 38 mil wastegates. So I have these and those for dump tube fabrication. And in today's video, guys, we're gonna try to make a downpipe and a dump tube. I don't have any argon. I have literally nothing on the gauge. There's literally nothing. Argon has been kind of hard to get as of late, so I'm gonna try again tomorrow to see if I can find a shop that has my size tank, owner's tank, full of argon that I can exchange and have here for welding. It's not gonna be today, the welding part of it, but definitely by the end of this video I'll have all this stuff welded up. Now the downpipe is only gonna be about maybe behind the oil pan, because I need the rest of it to be in the car to know where it'll go to clear the transfer case. How many of you guys remember this junkyard score? This right here came out of like an Autobot Integra with S15 headlights and R34 taillights, and this is actually a JDM B18C Type R motor that I got for about 230 bucks, somewhere around there. And if you guys don't remember, I also rebuilt this engine brand new with everything, piston rings and the whole 9, and this engine actually only has 1,100 miles on it before I pulled it out to go all-wheel drive. Same junkyard that I got this K24 from, and the same junkyard I got that K24 from. This right here, guys, is one of those gems that, even if the market value is super high right now, it's one of those gems that I will not sell. It's got some, it might be PLM big tubes. These are tri-Y 4, 2, 1 with a 2.5 outlet. This actually came out of the Flip RX CRX when I bought the car. It was attached to the exhaust system, which was hanging underneath the car, and I took it to put it on here for if I ever built another all-motor car. This is going to suit this engine really well. I have this engine out because I'm going to be using this for mock-up for the turbo kit and the downpipe. It's nice and elevated opposed to the LS VTEC that's sitting on the floor, and I don't want to have to get up and down, up and down, up and down to try to do that downpipe. Instead, I could just sit here and mock everything up. So I'm going to go ahead and just unbolt this header off and get this sucker installed. Okay guys, so quick little recap on the turbo kit we're going with for the all-wheel drive CRX. This manifold was the first manifold I've ever made. It's got a PRL Motorsports head flange, and I used 304 stainless steel schedule 10 tubing. We got 2 T's and a 90. I made this manifold when I first boosted that car after the all-wheel drive was done, and I wanted to keep it really simple since it was a stock motor. So it used to utilize a 44 mil wastegate, but now we are running a 38 mil wastegate, and I had to weld a 38 flange on top of the 44. And shout out to Franklin for this. We finally put this wastegate to use. He sent this like a year or two ago or something like that, and now I have a need to use it. This right here is a T3 flange. Made it up with a like 57 trim or 50 trim, 57 trim master power turbo. This turbo right here should spool it really nicely and hit the goals of what I'm trying to shoot for with that car. So this is all bolted up. It's got a new gasket in between right there, and I kind of somewhat clocked the turbo already, but I'm probably gonna have to clock it a little bit more once we get the downpipe all made up, because we have to make sure that we clear our return line. Now I didn't get a new flange because Kel don't really do 5 bolts, so he carries more V-bands than 5 bolts, but I have some 5 bolts here that I could use. Let me see, I got turbo parts everywhere. Okay, so I have a 2.5 5 bolt there. Probably need to clean that up. I got another 5 bolt right here, but this one actually has a 3-inch tubing already welded on there. Might have to clean that. I do have one that's already cleaned up. I just don't know where it's at. Let me find it. Four bolt. Yes, sir. Brand spanking new 5 bolt. Looks kind of weird though, but let's see if it fits. Okay, yeah, looks like that will work. That will work. Now I do have the original downpipe that I made with the manifold, which is this right here. And the funny thing is, it was originally on a 5 bolt downpipe, and then I cut it off for the GT28, which is a 4 bolt, which is this one right here. And then I don't want to have to lob it off again to put another 5 bolt on it. So I decided instead of using this old one, I'm just going to go ahead and make a new one. So this one right here is half of TIG welding and MIG welding. It looks pretty ugly, especially for a car that I'm going to be selling. So I decided I'm just going to make a whole new downpipe. We have the flange kind of grounded out a little bit because it did have some surface rust on there, and it is bolted up. Right now I'm just trying to like envision the bends I'm going to need, which I mean shouldn't even take long at all because I've done it before, right? But I got to go underneath the car to figure out where did I put the bung to ensure I'm going to clear that and the passageway for the return line itself. But yeah, it looks pretty straightforward. The only thing that I think is going to be kind of tough for me is to get the pipe that sits on the flange to stay in place, because I mean I don't have any gas for my TIG welder, so I'm gonna have to hold it in place, mock it all up. We'll figure something out. Okay, so this 90 that I have sticks out too far, and then it's going to drop the leg right on top of the return line. So I need this bend to be a little tighter, and it looks like I'm gonna have to take the other 90, cut it in half, and get the 45 to attach here, and then the 90 attached to the 45, so we can tuck it up a little bit closer, opposed to having it straight off the turbo as a 90. So I snapped the freaking blade on my vertical saw, so I can't cut out pies or cut any more stainless. The grinder's kind of scary to do something that small. I needed a couple pies, like 2 pies, to get the bend of the downpipe to go where I need it to go. So I cut in 90 to use a 45 on here, and it still kicks out way too close for the return line that sits in this general area. So if you look, too close where the return line is going to sit. So I need a couple of pies to kind of bend the tubing a little bit more so we can have this area cleared for the return line. Can't do that tonight because my blade is snapped. So I got to go to either Harbor Freight and get myself some new blade, or go by Kel's house and have him cut me up a few, since he's always done all of my pie cuts anyways. So yeah, that's unfortunate. Just got back home and just got a fresh 200X tank full of argon. Paid about $225. It's all set up, ready to go right there. And also got a new blade for the vertical bandsaw. Now I completely forgot about the Makita bandsaw that I have right here that I set up as a horizontal saw. I don't really use this one as much anymore because the battery just keeps dying. These have a lifespan and I've had them for like 10+ years. So I'm just gonna go ahead and change the blade on this mother sucker. I need to cut out a couple more pies so that way we can get the angle that we need and we'll get to tacking. I have a couple rough pieces cut out, and I'm gonna mock it up real quick to see if the pieces I cut are gonna work. If it doesn't, then you know we'll measure and cut some more. But I think these pieces are gonna work out with the quick little mock-up I just did a second ago before cutting my last piece. So I'm just cutting a bunch of these tape to tape them together. The main piece that's going to go on the flange, I can't tack it in just yet because I need to know where my angles are at before I do so. I'm gonna start off with this really short, it's not a 45, I don't know what this is. This was in my box of cutoffs, and I just did a pie cut. I don't know the degree that I'm cutting at because I don't have obviously a gauge on my cutter, but I just cut this piece out right here to give me a sharp angle. It is a little taller, it's an aggressive angle whatever I cut it at, and it's okay. We can just, you know, fill that out with some welds, but I'm gonna go ahead and just tape this together nice and evenly. I'm gonna mark it with a marker too, just in case these tape fall apart. So right off the turbo flange, we're gonna go with this pie and then a complete 90. This is a 90 with no leg on it, and I need to shoot this down towards the pan and ensure I have clearance for the oil return line. So it's pretty much a puzzle. You just got to sit here and figure out what's gonna work for you. Actually, I need to put this straight on first. So this straight right here is to let me know where the downpipe is pointing towards the oil pan, to know like where I need to place this 90 going under the oil pan. So just gonna quickly mock this up one more time. Ooh, that is so satisfying to look at. Is there... So I got this all tacked up. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces right now. This one is just taped on. It's just a piece that I added on to ensure that this is going to point straight under the oil pan. I'm gonna have to cut a new piece once I measure what I'm gonna need, but this right here is pretty much going to be the new downpipe. I'm gonna mock it up right here real quick, and you can see, actually hold on, gotta angle it backward a little bit. I'm trying to tuck this downpipe to the block as much as possible so you can see finger gap, and up here almost flush, but you can see, oh dang it, you can see we're pointing pretty much straight back, and it's tucked up to the driver's side as much as possible because the transfer case is going to be in the way on the passenger side. So you can see we got plenty of clearance, and I think what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to tack I'm gonna mark this out, tack that into place, and then fit it one more time before we fully weld this. Now, before I go and do all that, I'm gonna go ahead and just Scotch-Brite this piece right here, since it is a non-polished, well, it's not really polished, but like it doesn't have the same finish as the rest of the tubing. So you can see I kind of already did a little bit of it right there. All I'm using is a flap disc style Scotch-Brite on a cordless drill, and I'm just going to go ahead and polish it out real quick, and let's get to welding.
November 26th to January 9th. Details at CJSWIRING.com. The Point A is my career with the Valley Transportation Authority. This is a bus operator. It was rewarding to drive for people every day, providing customers with a great transit experience. After a few years driving, I wanted to learn something different and apply for other opportunities within VT.
I cannot feel my freaking fingers, but guys, 60% of the downpipe is done. We got it bolted up to the turbo right now because I ran this hot to burn the very thick metal 5-bolt flange, and I saved it for last. I burned it last, and then I stuck it on the turbo to transfer the heat so that this doesn't warp. I think this time around, I'm not gonna go with a 2-bolt flange or a 3-bolt flange. I think I'm gonna go V-band. So I'm gonna save this back half for another day because obviously I still gotta order the V-band, let that get in here, and then we gotta mock it up onto the car to clear the transfer case, so on and so forth. So I'm really fighting myself to stay out here right now because I want to finish this dump tube, and that is the last thing I want to do for this video. I also don't have a bung for the O2 sensor that I'm gonna stick somewhere here, kind of like how I have it on the old one right there. But I'm probably gonna order all that when I need to order the rest of the material. But the dump tube should be pretty simple. I think I'm gonna keep it at this angle and just kind of tuck it behind the block, going down, I don't know, somewhere around there. Might be a little too close. I might even shoot it straight that way and dump it here. The goal is to not have the dump tube anywhere near the compressor housing because you don't want it to dump and then the compressor sucks it in and then your IAT is going to be super hot. You also don't want it to be above the oil pan. The reason why you want your dump to exit the car completely is because if it dumps before the oil pan, it's just going to linger in this area. Again, the compressor is going to suck it in. Hot IATs, you don't want all that. So I debated on turning the wastegate a little bit so that way we can make the dump tube literally just come straight out like this and then go straight down that way and down. But I kind of like my stuff to be kind of like, you know, symmetrical and even, because the downpipe goes like this, dump tube kind of goes like that. So I guess I'm just gonna have to mock up some pieces and figure out how I'm gonna route it, and then, you know, fab it up and get the dump tube all fixed up. That is gonna call for this bag right here. All right guys, so I'm forcing myself to be out here because closing the garage when the sun goes down is kind of early for me, which is like 5:30, 6 o'clock, when I'm normally out here to like 10, 11 o'clock at night. So I am freezing my ass off. I am really cold. Still wearing shorts, I don't know why, but I just finished the dump tube for the wastegate. Now I made the turbo kit like super compact, super like close to the block, right? That the way I wanted to route the dump tube wasn't going to work back here. It would be too tight and I don't want it to be like rattling off of stuff. So I decided I'm just going to go in the front, actually in the back still, but you can see right here is butted up. It goes in front of the downpipe and then it goes back behind the downpipe for the oil pan, and we have plenty of clearance. So when I bolt this up, I just got to make sure they're not touching. It is going to be heat wrap as well, so you're not really gonna hear too much rattling, if there are going to be any type of rattling. But dump tube is pretty much like tacked together, and I'm about to weld this up right now. This is going to be the last thing for tonight, but I am going to close the garage because, like I said, it is super cold. But I'm just going to go ahead and throw this on the table. Actually, I need to clean up my table real quick, but throw it on my table, get down with the welds, guys, and we'll see you guys at the end of the video. Alrighty guys, so we got the downpipe all fabricated, we got the dump tube all fabricated. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out, and the welds are looking freaking awesome. So I did kind of make the dump tube a little complicated, making all these crazy curves and stuff like that. Normally I try to make it a straight shot, but because, like I mentioned, I made everything so compact and tight to the block that literally I didn't have room to route it the way I wanted to. But at the end of the day, this is going to work. Dump tube is going to be way clear of the oil pan, so that way nothing's going to be recirculated back into the turbo. And yeah, man, this thing is almost ready to rock and roll. The rest of the downpipe is going to be fabricated once we get all of this put into the car, so that way we can route the back half of the downpipe to clear the transfer case. Plus, we still need all the V-band stuff to show up. I already have the flex pipe here, but big shout out to Robert for all of the 38mm wastegate tubing. Shout out to Kel for all of the pipings to make the downpipe and the flex pipes and all the extra stuff that you've given me. I appreciate it much. I do want to start working on getting all of this stuff put into the all-wheel drive CRX, but I think there's like a meet or two coming up that I kind of want to drive the car to before I put it out of commission for the turbo kit install. But I'm super stoked. I hope you guys are too. But before we end this video, I did get a package today from my local supply guy for all of the fittings and everything I need for turbo, return lines, feed lines, pretty much fuel line fittings and stuff. B&R Fitting out of Salinas, California. Link is always in the description below. Shout out to Brian for getting this to me really quickly. So inside here we have dash 10 sleeving. I got 2 feet of this just in case we get a little too close to the downpipe with the return line, which I don't think we're going to have any issue because I ran this obviously before. But we got 2 feet of that just in case. Right here we have dash 3 line. These dash 3 lines are normally used for the journal bearing turbos, which is what we're running on here, a journal bearing turbo, and it already has a dash 3 fitting already on it. So 2 dash 3. So we got 2 of these suckers, one for the all-wheel drive and one for the H2B giveaway car. We got a pretty cool bag right here. Inside this bag, I like to order extra stuff all the time. So right here, let's see, we have a 45-10 hose end. I got 2 of that actually. I got a straight dash 10 hose fitting because I don't know how many of this I have. I didn't order a 90 because I do have 90 fittings already. This right here is 2 block oil feed fittings. If you're not running the oil sandwich adapter, this right here goes into the stock oil pressure sensor location, and then the pressure sensor actually sits on one end of the block. This right here goes into the block, and then the back side is pretty much for the fitting that goes to the dash 3 line that feeds to your turbo. So I got 2 of this, one for the H, one for the all-wheel drive car, or they're both all-wheel drive car. One for the red car, one for the white car. This one right here is this is also a dash 3 fitting, pretty much the same one is in that box. This right here is a return line for a T3, T4 turbo, and this is the non-GT series, so it's a little bit wider. I needed this for the turbo that I'm running on the all-wheel drive car because we don't have this fitting. We have this, but we don't have that. So bought a whole new one, comes with gasket, comes with hardware. Big shout out to Brian. Thank you for getting this all out to me really quickly. Now I can, like, literally tomorrow, if I wanted to, get all this put into the car and not have the car out of commission for too long. Sorry if I just jammed through this really quickly, but at the end of the day, progress is being made. We're headed in the right direction. This car is going to be boosted really soon. It is going to be the end of the video though. If you guys enjoy the fabrication for the turbo components going into the all-wheel drive CRX, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And if you guys want to see this turbo kit into the car behind that door, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.